Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Sound Archives. My name is Christian Maiorino, and I am the host of this channel. So today's episode is going to be another concert review, and with the LPs list set up behind me right here, it might be a little bit misleading about which show I'm doing. I'm actually going to be reviewing the recent Bay Strikes Back show that I saw, and I got my ticket stub or ticket printout right here, which was Death Angel, Exodus, and Testament. Great show. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those bands' albums on LP, so I didn't set them up today, but the reason I have Priest and Alice and the Queensryche one set up behind me is just after I record this, I will be guesting on an episode of the Rock Fantasy Files, going over concerts that we saw in 2022. And as you saw in my previous video, I reviewed the recent Alice Cooper show at the Oakdale in Wallingford, Connecticut, so hence why I have Alice there. And then earlier in the year, back in April, I saw Priest at Foxwoods Theatre at the Foxwoods Casino. And of course, Queensryche played with Priest at that particular show, so that's why I got those LPs set up. I'm going to be, like I said, doing that show after I do this review. So anyway, on to my review of the Exodus and Testament and Death Angel show. So regretfully, I missed Death Angel's set. The show doors opened at 6 and they had a start time of 6:50. And with my schedule, regretfully, I could not make it there on time for Death Angel. However, I did get there in time to see the entirety of Exodus and Testament, and both bands were freaking amazing. I would say that. I don't think either band. I know I've seen Exodus at least once or twice before. Testament, I can't even remember if I want to say I have seen them before. But regardless, anytime I've seen Exodus, previously they never disappointed. They didn't disappoint this time. Testament didn't either. So anyway, if I'm looking at my notes here, we had right now touring with Exodus. Of course, we have Gary Holt on guitar, Lee Altus also on guitar, Jack Gibson on bass, Tom Hunting on drums, and Steve Zetro-Sosa on vocals. I was saying before, there's a lot of energy at the show. People were going crazy in the pit at one point towards, I don't think it was the encore, close to the encore. Zetro had one side of the pit line up on one side, the other side line up on the other side, and had a signal. He had them charge each other. It was pretty cool. So on to go over the set list that they played. So they did play a few songs off the newer album, which I liked, and of course a lot of classic songs as well, and then a couple here and there in between. So anyway, they opened with "Beatings Will Continue Until Morale Improves," which was off the most recent album. One of the tracks that I like, so I was happy to hear that. And they went to "Lesson in Violence," an older song, and "Blood In, Blood Out." "Years of Death and Dying," also off the newer album. "Death-Amphetamine," "Blacklist," "Piranha." I love the riff in that song. I was so excited to see that played live. And then we had "Prescribing Horror," which is, I think, one of my favorite tracks off the most recent album, "Persona Non Grata." Of course, that little baby crying at the end there, going over the loudspeaker there. They have "Bonded by Blood," and of course the "Toxic Waltz." Because you can't have an Exodus show without doing the "Toxic Waltz." And then the encore was "Strike of the Beast." My only, I guess the only complaint I had, and I don't think it was really the band at all, just the sound can always be kind of muffled, and it just might be the way it is at the venue that I saw, which is the Webster Theatre in Hartford, Connecticut. So anyway, on to Testament. So playing with them, of course, you have Chuck Billy on vocals, Eric Peterson on rhythm guitar, Alex Skolnick on lead guitar, Steve DiGiorgio on bass, and of course the legendary drummer Mr. Dave Lombardo himself, who actually did play in Testament on the Gathering album back in 1999. So it was great to see him back in the fold. I mean, he doesn't disappoint at all. So it was great to see him with the band. Again, they were loud. The band played great. They sounded great. But again, the sound, and I don't think it's the band. I just think it's the way the venue is, the acoustics or whatever. I've seen this at other shows. There, it just sounded a little bit muffled. But again, they all sounded great. And for their set list, so they opened over the loudspeaker with Bad Leroy Brown. I'm assuming that's maybe their thing. I don't know. And they opened with Rise Up, which is a fairly newer song, and they went into the New Order, and went The Pale King, and Children of the Next Level, which is off the most recent album that they've done. And they did Practice What You Preach, World War III, and then, of course, with Dave Lombardo there, they had to do a track off of that album, so they did DNR, Do Not Resuscitate, and Chuck Billy, of course, mentioned at the show that it was the first song, I guess, that they wrote for that album. Then after that, they had Native Blood, Night of the Witch, Electric Crown, Formation of Damnation, First Strike is Deadly, Into the Pit, and then they encored with Alone in the Dark. Again, another great set. And I actually, after the show, so I was a little bit hungry, and they had a food truck out there selling like Italian food, like pasta, meatballs, and whatnot. And so I went, ordered a little bit of food. It's kind of a rip-off, $8 for basically one meatball cut in half, 2 little toasted bread. Tasted all right, but anyway, a little bit upset about that. But anyway, I'm walking back to my car, and of course the tour buses are right there. And then I just kind of look up, and Chuck Billy is like right there. I'm like, holy crap. So there was another woman who was there, who was like right where I was, and then, she wanted to get a picture taken with them, so I offered, like, hey, I'll hold your phone, snap the photo, so you don't have to, attempt the selfie. So I'm like, screw it. I'm right here. Hey, man, you want a picture? So I was like, yeah, sure. So, I shook his hand, thanked him for the show. He's like, hey, man, thanks for coming out. He complimented me on my Saxon t-shirt that I was wearing, and I'll try to have let's get the picture posted up there. So, yep. Let's see if that gets into focus. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. That's okay. But yeah, it's, I even told him, I'm not usually the type to kind of go up to rock stars or celebrity type people, what have you, to try to get a picture or autograph or anything like that. But hey, man, the guy was standing right there. I'm like, screw it, why not? So yeah, so it was pretty cool. He was very gracious, very friendly, and it was end to a good night. So yeah, that's my review of the Exodus, Testament, and Death Angel show. Unfortunately, I missed Death Angel. That was at the Webster Theatre in Hartford, Connecticut. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and leave your comments below if you were at that show, or if you've seen any other shows on this tour and you'd like to share your comments, your thoughts. If you've seen any of these bands perform at all, ever, leave your comments. Let me know what you think. And hope you see the next video that I post. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet. I've had a couple album rankings that I've wanted to do. I am going to be seeing Judas Priest again in October, so I may do another review after that show. We'll see. But anyway, I do hope that you watch more of the content that I have posted on the channel, and also be on the lookout for future videos. And until next time, this is the Sound Archive, sounding off.